Well, welcome everybody. I'm Christine DeGregory, AAQEP's Director of Professional Learning, and I'm here today with some wonderful volunteers that engage in such important work with us here at AAQEP. And so my panelists here that are joining us in conversation are going to introduce themselves in just a moment as they address our first question. So Brenda, I'm going to start with you and ask you to share, why did you decide to become a reviewer and what were you looking for as you engaged in this work?
Well, thank you, and thanks for having me. My name is Brenda Fischer. I'm the Dean in the School of Education and Social Work at the College of St. Scholastica. We are a private institution in northern Minnesota. And I decided to become a volunteer reviewer for AAQEP because I have had such a powerful and positive experience with the whole process. Our institution was one of the first in Minnesota to get our AAQEP accreditation. And from the moment we started working with AAQEP, it felt supportive, positive. The focus on continuous improvement was just it was such a blessing to feel that in accreditation that I wanted to be a part of that process for others. So that's why I started, and it's been everything I had hoped for.
Great, thank you, Brenda. And I'll turn to Chris. Why did you decide to become a reviewer?
Hey guys, this is Chris Godwin. I am the Assistant Dean and Chair of Professional Education at Campbell University. One of the reasons why I became a reviewer as well as a site team participant is because, one, I was looking for best practice ideas. And I think in higher ed, sometimes we get in our silos and we get very stuck in what we're doing. And when I was introduced to the AAQEP folks and we decided at our university to move toward AAQEP, definitely because of the contextual nature of AAQEP and how we could tell our story in a way that really matched ours, I found like-minded folks who were willing to tell and were willing to share. And as I've continued this journey, I have found so many wonderful colleagues who are open books. So for those of us who have difficulty with small programs and trying to deal with data that always tends to be under the end, AAQEP provided a format and a place and a space for us to be able to tell our story and to learn from each other. And that's definitely one of the reasons why I became a reviewer. And like Brenda, I would say that it's been a journey well worth it, with a lot of ideas shared among my faculty that I've learned in the AAQEP process.
Great, thank you, Chris. And Diane.
Thank you, Christine. So I'm Diane Kern. I'm the Interim Director of the School of Education here at the University of Rhode Island. And I'm also a professor of English language arts and literacy teacher education. So I became an AAQEP reviewer because I learn by doing. And when I'm thinking I need to do a process, I usually often just dive in to learn. So I wanted to learn more about AAQEP's policies, standards, and perspectives on teacher accreditation or teacher preparation program accreditation, just period. I wanted to learn more. I've been doing this kind of work for a long time. And so I became a reviewer. And then I really connected between the work I had been doing as a faculty member and also as a leader for the International Literacy Association's national recognition process. And I was looking for change and I was looking to learn. And I did find change in the AAQEP process. Specifically, this is a formative process that supports program change, as Brenda said. And there's a focus on innovation and less on compliance and less go look it up, go figure that out for yourself. It's a much more supportive process. So that's why I became a reviewer.
Great, thank you, Diane. So I do want to share before we enter into this next question, just that in our system, we do have two types of reviewers. We have proposal reviewers who engage with a partner and read a proposal written by a provider as they prepare their self-study design. And that's an optional activity for our providers to engage in, but many of them take advantage of that And then we also, of course, have our site visit teams that come together to actually read the self-study, to document evidence, and then to engage in the site visit process to complete a final quality review team report that accompanies the self-study to the Accreditation Commission. So maybe if each of you could talk a little bit about the preparation. We all kind of engage in our online modules to prepare us, but maybe just a little bit what that was like for you, and maybe some of the supports or resources that have been most helpful to you. So I'm going to start with Chris this time.
Of course. The online modules were of great help. They're required. And as you go through them, one of the things that I found, because there are quizzes in each one, and being the perfectionist that I am, I would read over them and think, oh my God, I'm going to fail this test. And then I would go back. And it's not like that. It's very easy to understand the material. They walk you through each of the standards in a way. They walk you through the role of being a site team visitor or reviewer. They walk you through the QAR. Every component of the AAQEP process, they walk you through. So it really is like they're holding your hand. Those are always available to us as we go through the process to go back to review, to refresh. So that's really nice. And then I don't think there's anything that AAQEP has left out. There's so many pieces of support for whatever role you decide to choose, being a reviewer or being a site team member. There's so much that's available. The other thing that helped prepare me was that our university, as well as our state, offered some AAQEP workshops in which Linda McKee was presenting, and I actually attended those, and it was another added bonus of information. And the way that it was described from folks that were at the beginning of AAQEP, that allowed me to kind of hear the story of, why did we move to something more contextual? Why did we move toward something that allowed a university that was small to be able to tell a story and not get bogged down into data that wouldn't show up on a report anyway? So there's a plethora of supports and support systems and support personnel that guide you through all of these. So that's how I prepared for it. And I think I was very well prepared. And of course, the experience of doing it over and over again.
Great. Thank you, Chris. Diane, since Chris was talking about the quality review teams, that those are site visitors, can you add just a little bit more, maybe touch upon some of the other things and how you were prepared or supported?
Absolutely. Chris mentioned some of these, but I'll give a little bit more of my experience. The first time I learned about AAQEP was from an International Literacy Association colleague who invited me to a New York City meeting, so a regional meeting of AAQEP at Bank Street College. And Linda McKee facilitated that meeting as well. And there was an excellent meeting about understanding the standards, how to map them to the other standards that you're using. And it was a great opportunity to talk with other colleagues around the country who were either members of AAQEP or considering AAQEP at that time. It was pretty early on in AAQEP's life. So I then became a reviewer, completed those modules. And so I would add just a little bit more for first support what Chris said, how invaluable the modules are. And I'm type A to Chris and perfectionist. And so I needed to get a 100% there for a while, and then I relaxed. But when I became a reviewer for the first time, AAQEP set up a Google Drive with everything I needed. I shouldn't say just me, my team needed. And then if I had a question or something was missing, or I couldn't find it, is usually what it was, I could just contact AAQEP staff and the supports were provided. So the organization of a shared drive where all of the team members on the review team can co-construct knowledge and then build the building blocks of a report that ultimately leads to the final document that is shared with the program and with the commissioners.
Great, thank you, Diane. And now, Brenda, I just want to remind folks that you serve as a proposal reviewer. So can you talk a little bit about that work and how you were prepared?
Yes, so as Christine said, it's optional, but I think many institutions are using this, and really it's an opportunity for you to put out some of the things that you're thinking about and get some early eyes on it, get some early feedback. And I can't tell you how valuable I think that process is. Similar to what Chris and Diane said, the training that AAQEP provides, you know exactly what you're doing, what's expected of you. I also was worried about those quizzes, and I think we all fall into that same category. The other thing that I think was really speaks to AAQEP's quality is they are always asking your feedback after any sort of professional development or any sort of training, like what could we do better, or was there anything that was difficult to understand? So even though what they have is excellent, they always are looking for continuous improvement in their own work. So clearly they practice what they preach. The other piece that I think is really important to know is there are two people who go through this process together. So I have someone, as I'm reading through the proposal, to meet up with, and we talk about, well, what did you see in here and what did you see in there? And those professional conversations, well, Christine and I did one together, and it lasted a long, long time because you get caught up in all of the amazing things that your colleagues are doing in their institutions. And I think Chris brought this up in his first question. I am just inspired by what I see happening in institutions all over the country. It's really, I have learned so much just from being able to see what others are doing.
Great. Thank you, Brenda. That was a nice segue into our next question is, what have you all learned from engaging in this work? And maybe what is most surprising to you about this opportunity that you engage in? So I'm going to start with Diane.
Thank you so much. So one of the things that I learned as a reviewer was that my colleagues and I needed a change in accreditor. We were very much in a compliance-oriented approach, and very much reporting and then putting documents on a shelf, and thanking goodness that phase was over. And so we were really struggling with a continuous improvement cycle. We had moments, but it was mostly a struggle. So getting the inside view of the AAQEP process and understanding this, how formative it was both a surprise and a very exciting part. It was such a paradigm shift from compliance to genuine self-study, and what it looks like in our School of Education at this point still surprises me every day. We're growing, we're experiencing a culture shift, and we really feel the freedom to make changes and be more progressive than we have in the past.
Great. Thank you, Diane. Brenda, how about you?
I've learned a lot of things. I have learned that everyone is doing their best and everyone is trying to do better. And I feel like AAQEP gives us an opportunity to be innovative without feeling like we can't change things because we have to report this data or that data. AAQEP has high expectations. They have very clear standards, but they can be met in a variety of ways. We have different size programs. We're serving students from a variety of backgrounds. Not all of our students learn the same. Not all of our programs are structured the same, and that's okay. We can meet those in a variety of ways, and it's amazing to see a high standard can look different across multiple programs, and that hasn't always been my experience in accreditation processes. So I certainly have learned more as a reviewer than I have learned in a whole lot of other professional development, that's for sure.
Great. Thank you, Brenda. And Chris, how about you? What have you learned, and what maybe has surprised you the most?
Wow. I learned that it's okay to make mistakes because I've been on teams and seen excellent programs at the time of the site visit actually discuss and walk us through a mistake and a change that was allowed to happen and a change that was allowed to be done because the process was intent on continuous improvement. That we don't wait around and say, okay, we made a mistake, we got to wait because this data is going to show here. Some of the best conversations around those mistakes and the best learning experiences that these universities and teacher education programs have experienced as a result. So I think that was the big surprise, that, you know, we're not looking for perfection. We're looking for what's real. We're looking for your story. And I think the most wonderful aspect of this work is that when I participated in site team reviews, the story just evolves. It's a living, breathing process that all of a sudden it folds out the entire QAR that the team has completed. And you see this, just the beauty of the program and warts and all, and they're willing to share that. It's open, it's very transparent. But those are the learning curves and the learning opportunities that we have. So that's been the biggest surprise of all.
Thanks, Chris. All right, I'm going to come right back to you with this one now. What would you say to people considering serving as a reviewer?
I would say, don't be afraid. AAQEP absolutely has all of the resources and the tools for you to be successful. As I said earlier, I'm a perfectionist and I want to be able to do it right. And being able to work with this process has taught me that if I don't have the answer, there's always someone to ask. There's always someone there to help. Even your colleagues who serve on teams or other program reviewers or process reviewers, they are all there to help. And so you just have this huge network. And it's an incredible opportunity to serve, to see wonderful things, and to bring those back to your university and really give some ideas and a new start to some of the things that you're doing on your own campus.
Thanks, Chris. Diane, how about you? What would you tell folks?
I guess I would add on what to what Chris said. When you serve on a quality review team, it's very much a mutually beneficial professional learning opportunity for you. I was going to say it's free, but of course you're not paying for it, but you do have to dedicate time. So I would add that, you know, you want to carve out your time and your schedule. So plan in advance. I try to review 2 times a year, and that's pretty much what they ask. I mean, I don't serve on any more groups than that. And on a really busy semester, the staff is very supportive and understanding if I can't do both semesters. So carve out the time, but you will learn as much as your colleagues who you are working with. The next is you're part of a change in educator preparation in the nation, which is intrinsically motivating. We're not trying to break down, we're trying to build up, and it renews my professional excitement every time I participate in this work. And then Chris already said this, but I'll say it in my own way. You will be supported along the way. If you mess up, you will get help. Christine helped me last time I messed up more than once, and it's okay. You know, we'll do this together, and you will be supported and acknowledged for your hard work.
Thanks, Diane. And so Brenda, I'll have you close things out for us. So why would you tell people to become a reviewer?
First of all, I say absolutely do it, go for it. You will not regret it. The time commitment is slightly different with the reviews that I have done. It's usually about a 2-month period of time that you have to complete the review. And I have, when things are really busy and you can't commit to perhaps a full site review, it's another opportunity to be a part of the process. And again, learn so many things along the way. I will also reiterate, the logistics of the process could not be made easier. You are not looking through 4 folders to find things. You always know where they are, who to contact, what time things are happening. It is seamless in that. And we all know that can be a pretty big stumbling block when you're trying to do this work, in addition to your regular work. So all of that is perfectly orchestrated. I don't know how they do it, but they do it. And I guess finally, I would say you want to be a part of the AAQEP family. You really do. It is the most supportive, professional experience I have had. And I say that with all sincerity. I couldn't be happier or more proud to be associated with AAQEP. So if you're thinking about it, go for it. I guarantee it'll be the best decision you make.
Well, thank you to each of you for spending time with us today and sharing your stories about serving as reviewers. And thank you on behalf of our field for the good work that you are doing in your respective institutions. And to those of you considering becoming a reviewer, feel free to contact us at AAQEP. We're happy to answer any questions. Our reviewers make our work possible. So we are so appreciative of your time and energy and commitment. And we hope to see you at a site visit or at a proposal review meeting in the near future. Take care.